Give me that beat, boo. It's a full-time Jack move. You know what it is. Welcome back to the Blackout Podcast. My name is ODM, one half of Lighter Shade of Brown. Welcome to the birth of Lighter Shade of Brown, season 1 of the Blackout. We're so excited. It's been one hell of a run, and we want to thank you for tuning in every single week. If you missed any episodes, I encourage you to go back, all right? They're in the description, or just go to the video tabs of this. Shout outs to Danny Boy, our resident DJ.
Hey, what up?
Danny Boy.
Welcome to the Blackout Podcast. Shout out to my boy, Money Moons.
Yes, sir.
You know how we do.
What's up, Mr. Wu-Tang? I think last week you had on Tupac.
Hey, I got it at Walmart, all right? It's cool.
You got it at Walmart.
Walmart has the deals.
Wu-Tang at Walmart. I like that.
Shirts, man.
So check it out, man. We got a special guest today, as always. I hate saying special guest. I mean, not that he's not, or not that they aren't. But you ever notice podcasts? They're usually that's it. We have a special guest. Well, how special? They're all special. No, we got a guest. It's not just a guest. It's a homie. We got a special homie. Can I say that?
There you go.
We got a homie from back in the day. You know, of course, this is how we do it on the birth of Lighter Shade of Brown, man. We bring you the goods. This homie right here, we crossed paths years ago. He's ventured out onto the road with us. He was kind enough to work with us, and even sometimes not only protect us, but also discipline us. And you'll know what I mean as we get into this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, our bodyguard, our brother, our friend, Manny Pinson.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Thank you for the invite.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you.
I think it's been a minute, right, since we saw each other. Maybe was it Bobby's funeral?
Sacramento. Oh,
Sacramento?
yeah, Bobby. Yeah.
Okay.
Bobby. But then the other one was, I think, I was touring with Skilo. And we did a show in Sacramento.
Okay.
That's where.
Yeah, that's when we crossed paths.
Yeah.
See, my memory just. We'll get into that and all the shows and all of that. But I want to talk about Manny Pinson. Where did you grow up at, bro?
Hawthorne.
Okay.
Hawthorne, California.
Born and raised.
I was born in Union City in San Jose.
Okay.
And Dad was a horse trainer. He trained thoroughbred horses. So he moved to L.A., trained his horses in Inglewood, Hollywood Park Racetrack.
And just loved it, you just moved the whole family out here.
Yeah.
You got brothers?
One brother, 3 sisters.
Okay.
And then I have half sisters.
Yeah.
That was a player.
That was a player. Papa was a rolling.
Not only did he train horses.
I have a bad joke for that right now, but I'm just going to leave that alone.
Flag is up.
You know what I'm saying? So Papa was a Rolling Stone, huh? Mm-hmm. Dang, dude. Did you know that as a kid?
Later on, I found out because he'd always said something that he wanted me to get to know my brothers and sisters.
Right.
And I didn't know what he was talking about until I asked my mom about it.
No way. So they were already grown.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're like in their late 60s, maybe early 70s, probably.
Well, at least I'm trying to look at the bright side here. At least he decided to finally tell you one day. He waited for you to get a certain age. How old were you? Do you remember? Were you?
Oh, I had to be like
already a teenager?
Maybe about 10 or 11.
How did you take that news when he broke it to you?
Yeah, no big deal. I mean, I got brothers and sisters. I didn't see them, but I knew of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you ever crossed paths with them?
Yes. Well, at my dad's funeral, and then later on I found out that my half brother is not my real half brother. He actually told me himself that his mom was pregnant, and my dad and his mom hooked up and took him as his own because he wasn't born yet.
Okay.
So they gave him Manuel's name, which is my dad's name.
Yeah.
And then when my dad left his mom and all that, divorce, whatnot, my mom and dad had me, and they named me after my dad. So I was the third.
Okay.
And then I found out I'm now the second.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were a junior. I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So you're Manny the third, right? Or the second?
On paper, on birth certificate, I'm the third.
Okay.
But in reality, I'm really the second.
Okay.
So
now, are you? I want to say. I remember you're half Mexican, half, or are you full Mexican?
Mexican American.
Mexican American.
My wallet's Jewish.
Your wallet's
tight.
What part of Mexico?
There goes cancel culture.
Shalom. To all my brothers and sisters out there.
Right. So growing up in Hawthorne, your dad, you said he raised and trained horses? Is that what he did as his occupation?
Owned and trained horses.
All right.
Yeah.
And your mom?
My mom was a teacher assistant for the LA County.
Assistant. Okay.
School aide or TA or something.
Yeah. And she did that throughout the years of you growing up, and that's how you guys paid the bills.
Well, I see. Once again, I went to the school of the Beach Boys, same school, Hawthorne High.
Hey, let it be known, the Beach Boys.
Many years later, I ended up bodyguarding Brian Wilson.
Is that right?
Yep. He was doing an autograph signing in Hollywood off Sunset. There's a bookstore, and that's when he was with that doctor.
Okay.
And we were taking a break.
Yeah.
And Brian and I were talking about the old days of schools and all that of Hawthorne High.
Yeah.
And his doctor was giving him a little hard time.
Right.
So Brian said, I'm tired. And I go, you want me to tell him to leave?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I'm tired. And I said, okay, you got to go.
That's
You don't tell me what to do. And I stood up and I said,
give him that body.
You know?
That I'm going to crush you in 3 seconds. Look. So did you, so you went to school with the Beach Boys. So I'm assuming.
I went to the same school of the Beach Boys.
Same school as the Beach Boys. But were they already a band?
Yeah.
At that point?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Because, they started, what, in the 70s?
No, in the 60s.
60s? Oh, I'm tripping.
50s, 60s, yeah.
I'm tripping. So they were already stars then?
Yeah.
And they were still in school?
No. They were already performing. I had already graduated from Hawthorne High in 85. So when I hooked up with Brian Wilson doing security for him, it was like in the 90s.
Brian, I'm thinking you went to school with them. You just went to the same school.
We went to the same school.
Got you. Okay. And that's crazy because like Shiro, she went to school with like a bunch of rappers, and you go to school with the Beach Boys, man, or same school as them. Now, when they came out, was that like, were there any like other like athletes who came out of your school that were popular, or anyone?
You know what? I think there's a couple, but I don't remember, man.
Yeah.
You know,
but the Beach Boys were the staple.
Yeah. I mean, I did my own thing in school. I played football, wrestling in high school, and on the track and throwing the shot put.
Yeah.
You know, so those were my things. And then in high school, I signed up for the Marine Corps, joined the Marines, and then got out of the Marines. And
how many years did you serve?
Not long enough.
Okay.
You know,
wasn't your thing?
Well, it was, but there was a situation that happened to where I ended up getting an honorable discharge anyways.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't my fault, but I just ended it. You know, and a lot of red tape in between.
Okay.
You know.
So you went to the Marines, you came back. What were you bumping at that time? What was your music of choice?
Oldies but goodies, brother.
Okay.
Oldies but
Motown?
Goodies. That's it, man. Oldies but goodies.
Is that what your parents bumped?
Well, they listened to a lot of that Latino stuff, you know, mariachi music and all that stuff. You know, my uncles were musicians back in the days in San Jose.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I listened to a lot of the old school music or whatnot from them.
Okay.
You know, and my uncles, their own band, I forgot the name of their band, but we had a sax player, drum, trumpet, guitar. My mom played the piano.
Okay.
You know? But
musical family.
Yeah. And then my grandfather taught me how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
And a saxophone.
All right. So you were in a school band?
Yeah. In junior high.
Okay.
You know, I learned, my grandfather said, if you're going to learn how to play an instrument, you're going to have to start with the clarinet. Which I wanted to.
I think that was all of ours. First, it was like the flute.
The violin.
The violin?
And the flute, yeah.
And the flute then, right?
Yeah. My first song I learned was the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah.
Ay, mijo. Ay, qué bueno.
Hey, and that was in 94, so, you know.
The flute, right? The little piccolo or whatever you call it?
Yeah.
And then that just kind of like graduated to the clarinet, right?
Mm-hmm. I never got to the clarinet, but pretty much.
No?
It was the flute, and then I moved over to the violin. Then from the violin, I just got into it.
Violin seems like it'd be a hard instrument to play.
My grandfather was a violinist player. He played violin and the bass. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But essentially, I mean that's all the same. If you know the notes, you know the notes, right? It's just, or no, am I wrong?
Yeah, basically. But you know, there's a stand-up bass and there's a bass guitar itself. You know, so you know you go like this and then you go like this. You know,
the stand-up is a cello, right?
Yeah, I think
it's a smaller.
Okay.
The cello's smaller, bass is bigger. It's taller.
Got you.
Yeah, and fatter.
You never played the accordion, homie?
No, man. No, that's Texas Tornado, man.
Come on, Freddie Fender wasn't your, you know what I'm saying? In your playlist or what?
They were good though. Texas Tornadoes were good, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Man, first like Latinos really, not first, but one of the, you know, back in the day, man. It broke down a lot of doors, man. Music was very impactful, man. Who was your hero growing up? Did you ever have somebody like, that's my superhero?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Oh man, he was my hero, man. He was my best friend.
Tell me about your grandfather.
Oh, he was the best, man. He's the best.
What was some of his traits that you remember? Something that he instilled in you?
He was a hardworking man. You know, always said to, you know, respect your parents. You know, if you get mad or whatever, don't raise a hand to them. You take the medicine. That's it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and love, and that's what I try to do. I tell my grandkids that I love them.
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses. You know.
Yeah.
But
how old were you when he passed?
I was in high school. I'd say maybe 15.
15?
Yeah. And then shortly after that, my dad passed away. So, you know, it was my dad, it was my uncle.
Yeah.
My uncle, my grandfather, my uncle, my grandmother, then my dad. You know, and they all had a big piece of my life. Of
Sure.
learning, you know.
You're close to all of them.
Oh yeah. You know.
That had been tough. I mean, just especially at that age, losing them so closely, man, that had been rough on you.
Oh yeah, because then you have a dad and you have a grandpa, and then you don't have no more.
Yeah.
You know, and that was hard because you're learning, and then who do you talk to again?
Yeah. What was your first job?
Cutting grass. I was a newspaper boy, delivered paper on a bike, and then rain or shine, on a bike, delivered papers, and then I sold clothes at a Boston store. I went from maintenance to security to a salesperson in Boston store. It's a clothing store.
Right.
They're no longer around anymore. You know, and then I worked at AMC Theater in Hawthorne. In high school, I was a camp counselor. You know,
camp counselor
for sixth graders. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if the kids messed up, I had everybody. It was about the time I was trained to go in the Marine Corps. I had everybody move the racks out of the way, just lined them up, and we all did exercise. It only took one person to mess up, and then we all got checked. You know, and
you was doing the checking.
Yep. That's right.
I can already tell, bro.
Yep.
Just by working with your ass, I already know what kind of camp counselor you would have been.
But you know, some of the parents, you know, called the teachers up and all that and want to know.
Did they? Because I feel like it was different back then.
It was a good thing though
than it is today. Like kids they don't seem like they don't get disciplined on the field. Like, oh, win or lose, you know, just as long as you have fun. Nah, sometimes we out there to win. You know what I mean? Like,
they
all depends how you look at it.
Who put their kid in check, because when they came home, they were totally different.
Yeah,
they were more respectful. You know, so this one girl at school, she came yelling, "Manny, what did you do to my cousin?" I said, "Nothing." "Why?" "My mom wants to know who put my cousin in check." I did. I put him in check. You know, I said we were all a team. You know, and if one messed up, they all messed up.
Right.
And several years later, I found out that 2 of the kids joined the Marine Corps. I seen them. Yeah. You know, on the street. "Manny, I thank you for everything."
Thank you for everything. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. To every coach out there, to every camp counselor, you know what I mean? It's tough love.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that because you're not getting that at home.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you do that for?
Camp counselor?
Yeah.
Just in high school.
Okay.
That was it. You know, and then, like I said, I signed to join the Marines, and then...
right after that?
After that, came out, and then I worked for a company. I worked at Hollywood Park Racetrack.
Yeah.
And then I worked for a company called Staff Pro.
I was going to say, didn't your dad ever want to bring you in, or is that something you didn't want to do?
My dad wanted me to do that, and I told my dad, if I can't take care of dogs, what makes you think I take care of a horse?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
And he understood where I was coming from.
Yeah, it's not my thing, Dad.
You have to have that love.
Got to have that love.
And
it's a good thing you didn't waste his time either.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
Showing you, man. That's dope.
They gave me the freedom, but then I learned a lot.
Right.
Growing up, I was no angel. Yeah, I ran the streets and everything, but
Yeah.
I never brought anything home.
Did you gangbang?
I never brought anything home.
Did you? Did you steal?
Brought
that home.
It was on loan.
It was on loan. Yeah. So, what point did you get into security? Again, I'm like,
when
let's kick that off.
I guess when
Or what made you decide you wanted to go to the security route?
I wanted to be Elvis Presley's bodyguard. During that time, I met some people at the racetrack. I was working there, and they thought I was from the islands, from Hawaii or somewhere.
I kind of see that. I think we always joked about it.
And I got clients, to work as their bodyguards and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I was already in the bodyguard scene,
right?
But then I started working for a company called Staff Pro.
Yeah.
And with that itself, we did a lot of movie locations or concerts.
How old were you at this point?
I was in my 20s.
Okay. Early 20s?
Yes.
Okay.
So
a lot of concerts?
Oh, yeah.
So this was 80s?
No, 90s.
Okay.
It was in the 90s.
Early 90s?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was working with Kiss FM, my partner Lloyd and I.
That's right.
We were working with Kiss FM.
Right.
And we did all the Kiss FM jobs.
Now you mentioned Lloyd, and I'm glad you brought him up, because when we got introduced to each other, I remember I met Lloyd through you, or at the same time. And did you meet Lloyd during the Staff Pro days?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you got kind of signed on at the same time.
Lloyd was already working for Staff Pro.
Right.
So when I started working, we were like, he's above me, seniority wise.
Right.
But then I moved up in ranks where I was getting more pay and whatnot because the bosses liked the way what I was doing.
Right.
So he found out how much I was getting paid. He goes, "Hey man, that's not right." So I go, "I'll take care of you." So I talked to the boss and I go, "Look, in order for me to do certain things, he has to come with me and he needs to pay too." He said, "Okay, no problem." That was it.
That was it.
That was it.
You got best friends from that point.
That's it, man. We were brothers the whole time.
Lloyd, later on, he passed away, right? How many years had you guys been friends? Because I'm sure you guys spent time outside of security with families and stuff, right?
Man, yeah.
Did he have a family?
He had a brother, a sister. His sister passed away at a young age. He had already lost both his parents.
Okay.
So it was just he and his brother,
Did he have children?
No.
Okay. Well, you guys were out there running the mug, being single. Yeah. I'm not sure you brought wifey to this podcast today, because she's going
to go in our next room.
She's going to hear something.
It's right over here.
No, but I mean, that was back in the day. And so who did you bodyguard for? I mean, you mentioned a lot of Kiss FM.
We did, with
shows
Hollywood Hamilton, Wendy.
Did they really need bodyguards back then? Radio jocks needing... Well, I guess Hollywood Hamilton was a big staple, right?
LNK's life was threatened a few times. And because she had like stalkers following her or whatever.
Okay.
And there was one time that Lloyd and I had a different assignment, and we were supposed to be in Beverly Hills doing a VIP up there.
Yeah.
And they had already sent our replacement, and they said they're not going to do anything until we show up.
Right.
So we ended up coming back from Beverly Hills, going down to, I think it was over here in Riverside or something like that.
Right.
And we started.
You got me, dog. It was me. I was at the LNK, bro. I admit it, bro. Like, there was Rick D's, but then there was LNK, bro, and she was a lot more finer.
Mm-hmm. But then she started messing around with the owner or program director of
Roy Laughlin.
Yeah.
I think it was Roy Laughlin. Yeah, Roy Laughlin.
Yeah. And then
or wait a minute, Roy Laughlin, the owner of Laughlin. No, his last name was Laughlin.
Wendy and Hollywood Hamilton were a thing. They were seeing each other for a while.
Okay. Wendy?
Yeah.
Who's Wendy?
Wendy was one of the DJs.
Okay.
For Kiss FM.
Was that like out in the open?
They kept it on the down low.
They kept it on the down low.
Yeah.
I like that. I like how you're bringing these gems right now from back in the 80s. or 90s, I should say.
Yeah.
So Hollywood Hamilton and Wendy were an item.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I totally got off like the subject of being security, because you just don't need bodyguards just because your life is threatened. I mean, in a sense with L&K, what I mean is sometimes you need security to fight the girls off, or for the groupies, as they would say,
the groupies,
right?
Yes.
In L&K's case, it was a stalker who was a hell of like, it could have gotten a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you were doing security for Kiss FM, for L&K, and when did you start working? Who was your first celebrity that you started, or artist, I should say, that you were doing security work for?
Vicente Fernandez.
Ooh. No way.
Yeah. There was Vicente Fernandez. No, let me go back.
That's dope.
It was Cheap Trick. We did my first gig with Cheap Trick was at Universal Studio, and I was working the front of the stage. And the guy that plays the two-way guitar, he put his shoulder, he put his foot on my shoulder, and when he got through playing the guitar, well, the way how my hair is, you know, he put his pick right on my head, you know, and I got it, and I
just stuck it and used it as a holder.
Everybody wanted it, and I said, "You want it?" And I just put it in my pocket.
Did he leave it there purposely, like, or did he get it back?
He put it on my hair purposely,
like he was just done with it.
Yeah, that was it.
As like thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. And then after that, Santana, and then we did Vicente. When I worked with Vicente, it was in Santa Ana, the soccer field over there.
Santa Ana Bowl?
I think that's what it is. It's a big old soccer field or football field or something like that.
Yeah, Santa Ana Bowl. It had to have been. That's where all the concerts were back then, 80s and 90s.
And they told me, "You're going to work with Vicente." And I said, "No, I can't speak Spanish."
Right.
And he goes, "He speaks Spanish. I mean, English. He understands English." So I said, "All right."
Who would have thought that?
Yeah. So I ended up working with him that night, doing his security for him. You know?
Also, it was a one-off.
We did a couple of times when he came in town, but
nice
I didn't
man?
tour. I didn't tour. Oh yeah, really nice person, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I didn't like him, I wouldn't deal with him.
Did he pay you good?
Well, I worked for the company for Staff Pro.
Oh, okay.
So they took the money Staff Pro gave me, like, you know.
Trying to see how much check it was.
It's like the management fee, man. You know, management gets 10% and you get a percentage.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Bobby Ross Avila, who we've mentioned here in the past few podcasts, and there's where Lighter Shade of Brown crossed paths with you guys.
Yeah.
When we met Bobby Ross, that's when we met you and Lloyd.
Yeah. Anita, which is Dominguez, I think her last name is. She was a program director for Kiss FM.
Right.
She came up and asked if I wanted to make some money, Lloyd and I.
Yeah.
Because this new artist had just got off the road with New Kids on the Block.
Right, that's right. He was on tour.
His dad wanted security for him. Mm-hmm. So she goes, "How much you charge?" And I said, "Give me $500 each."
Yeah.
So she went over there, talked to him, and came back with some cash. And I said, "All right, let's go."
For each, meaning
Lloyd and I.
For you and I. So $1,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, back then, was that good money for security work?
That was okay because we were actually taking money from the company.
Now, how long were you security for Bobby Ross Avila?
I think maybe about 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3.
Then it came you guys, Latin Side of Soul. I think that these girl bands that Bobby was managing too.
Was it one point you were doing security for him and us?
As long as you guys were iProduction,
yeah,
okay, we were part of the security team.
That's
watching you guys. Okay. Once you guys left, us, that was it. Okay. So you Lighter Shade Brand had already left,
right?
And then I think Skilo had left after that too, because he was still under iProduction with Archie. Archie was Skilo's dad.
Okay, I remember that.
Okay,
Skilo. I wish I was a little bit taller. Yeah, he was a background dancer. Did you know that for Bobby Ross?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a little gem for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skilo was a background dancer, and I think he had another little dancer with him too, a little Mexican kid. He always had 2, and then didn't Isaiah, his brother, jump in as a dancer too?
Isaiah was a dancer.
Yeah.
Chris, I think it was African American kid.
You know what it is? When Skilo finally broke solo, he had 2 dancers with him.
Yes,
that's what it was. I'm mixing it up, but yeah, it was Skilo.
That was bass. Oh God, what's the other guy's name? It's so many years back.
Yeah.
I know that whenever we did shows, Lloyd and I always dressed up. We did the professional style of coat and ties.
Right. All black.
Yes.
Yep. I remember that.
And I know that many times with senior,
Yeah.
there was a thing of Ross first, everybody else second or third.
Was it very like fast paced, or was it like you got to take, you got to be aware of this artist and then
Well,
that artist?
our main thing was Bobby Jr.
Okay.
because he was a headliner.
That's what he's saying, though, right?
Yeah,
Like it was him first, and then
yeah.
Okay.
But whenever the groups were doing a show, we were all together. I made sure that everybody was taken care of.
Right.
So even though we went to the clubs and they had their bouncers and all that, I'd talk to them. I go, hey, this is what I need from you guys. Or the promoter, I'm head of security. This is what I need from my group.
Right.
And that's how I worked it.
Plus, I'm sure our productions was paying you
Yeah.
to watch all of us, or just to.
Well, back in the days, how it was. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk, but no whole lot of this too.
Oh, okay.
So, we enjoyed it.
Right. Ross was only like, I think 14,
Wow.
15,
Yeah.
and then I was 16. Bobby was 20, and Fabian was 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we were young.
So it was always we did a lot of shows in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas.
How was it doing security for us, Ladder Shake?
Bobby was such a pain sometimes. Hired and fired me so many times.
I remember the talks, bro. It's funny you bring that up because we'd be in certain scenarios and something wouldn't go right or whatever, and I just hear him like, "Hey, get that, hey, you fired. When we get back home, cause you fired," and this and that. And what was your response to that? How would you respond to that?
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I know you're going to tell it in your own words, but I want to say because you only looked out for our best interests.
Yeah.
And we were hard-headed, right?
Well, I gotta give a lot of props to Jammin' James because he helped me out a lot with Bobby. Okay, they were buddies, doing their thing, and you were not so bad. The only problem I had is I guess you were listening to Bobby one time, and hey, we don't need him, cuz we don't need cuz,
Yeah.
But your mom turned around and goes, yes, we do. Because not only I was security, but I was your road manager too.
Yeah.
And I handled your money, your contracts, and all that on the road.
That's right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man, because a lot of people don't give props for that. You're there to do one job only, but
anytime Bobby wanted money, I made sure he did a receipt for it.
Right.
Because there was always, man, I should be getting this, I should be getting that. Money was missing.
Right.
So everybody got paid right. If you took money out of your own pay, it's because you got it, and I have a receipt for it.
That's right. I remember you used to walk around with your book. And it's also important because when taxes come at the end of the year, you got to report that shit, especially being self-employed. We didn't even do a toast, brother. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I know for my sake, we had to make sure my taxes were on point. I, shout out to my mom for teaching me all of that, because it hadn't, then I'd have been.
I give your mom a lot of props, man, because your mom taught me a lot. I have none but love and respect for your mom.
Right on.
Nothing but love for her, man. And I do anything for her. Even to this day, I do whatever I can.
She a tough cookie too.
Oh, yes.
Cliff Ritchie was on here a while back, and he was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like your mom was on her dotted her I's and crossed her T's with everything.
She knew about contracts.
Yeah.
And she taught me about contracts. So that's how I ended up becoming you guys' road manager, because I think you guys had 2 or 3 road managers before me.
Right.
And one of them, I had to tell him it was his last day, and he was the one that looked like Barney Fife, little Mexican guy. Rudy, I think his name was, or Ruben, I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Because you already were doing things outside of the entertainment business, and plus your mom was guiding you, which was a good thing.
Right.
Because Bobby didn't have that guidance, and, which was, look what you have now.
Right.
You know, and that's because to me, I hope I'm not out of place, is that your mom guided you right.
Right.
You know.
Thank you.
And pointed you XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, versus Bobby didn't get all the way up to XYZ. You know, it's always one relationship after relationship after relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and he wasn't really happy.
Yeah, I didn't understand the whole money thing back then. My mom would just take it and take it and take it and put it away for safekeeping for a rainy day, as she would say later on. And I didn't understand that because, you know, you're young, you're making this money, you see others, and you see more material, flashy things. And I mean, here I just wanted I wanted a fresh tea every other day, you know what I mean? But it was like, okay, we'll give you this, but we're going to hold this onto this. And that's how the conversations went. And ultimately, you're right, it ended up saving my ass in the long run when him and I split up. Because now I was living off of that was saved. So yeah, man, props to mom for that.
Yeah, man. You know, I had spoken to Bobby, you know, a few times while he was in rehab or whatnot, and I spoke to his girlfriend or his wife at the time. You know, what was he in, Utah or a different state?
He was in Colorado. Yeah, he was living out there.
And she asked, "Oh yeah, Bobby told me a lot about you." You know, and I go, well, I hope we get a chance to meet, you know. And he had came down to L.A. because he was going to rehabs in L.A. that they were
Pasadena. Yeah. So just before 2015, I believe, is when he enrolled.
Yeah. And that was during the time you guys were doing a documentary on him.
Right, exactly.
You know,
Lighter Shade of Reality.
Yeah. So, but you know, I never got a chance to, you know, see him for the last time, but we talked on the phone. You know,
what were the conversations like?
He apologized for a lot of stuff he had done.
Yeah.
You know, and I say, hey, man, you know, it's all about growing up, man. You were young, you had enjoying yourself. The business kind of made young guys that way. Right. You know, I mean, you out learning and enjoying life.
Yeah.
Where versus myself, I was over that already because I've already worked with VIPs, traveled around already, different countries and whatnot. You know,
because you wouldn't let us. Again, it's a disciplinary thing. Like, no matter how much we fought you, and how, you know, because of our ego and realizing, hey, you still work for us. It was like you were doing it for our best interests, whatever it was, whether it was. You know, you always, you know, that, and I think that's part of your job as security. You always see something, you know, the things we don't see all the time. So it's like, no, it's probably not a good idea we go to this after party, or maybe, or no, I'm going to hold on to this because you're going to get drunk and you're going to lose it.
Whatever you have, your necklace, wallet, whatever, bring it to me so it won't get ripped off.
Right.
You know, because there's some sticky fingers late at night.
Yep.
You know,
groupie love.
Yep. Exactly.
We get an extra room sometimes, just one for play and then one for stay. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes if we didn't have enough money for the other room, it's just, you know, that's why we always get 2 beds. You know what I'm saying? And we always had our own room. You know what I mean? So you can mess up one side of the room and the other side is where you stay. But one thing that we always did was and we learned this because we learned the hard way, is we'd pull our, you know, our jewelry and stuff. And I had shoes taken from me, like all kinds of stuff. The girls would just come, like, because what would happen is we'd fall asleep. They'd get up in the middle of the night and dip with your shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I had Jordan. I remember this. I woke up one night in the middle of the night after this show, and I had one of my Jordans was just. The shoe box was on the floor by the front door, and one of the Jordans was hanging out. This chick took off with one of my Jordans, just one of them. You know, whatever, collector's item. You know, I don't know. And there's where I learned. Somebody even took off with one of my video cameras. I've had chains stolen. Never had money though. That was a good thing. I think because I always gave it to you. Yeah. You know, but yeah, those are some horror stories there. So from that point, I learned, man. I was like. Nah, I'm giving this to Manny because I know it's, you know.
Depending on which areas we went to do shows, I've always had either family members backing me up that you guys didn't know.
I know we touched upon a little bit, but you also did security work for Skilo. Was that after us or was
Yes.
that before us?
After. Because because you guys stopped touring for a while.
Okay.
And I was already booked with Skilo.
Okay.
So when I seen you guys on the road, it was in the Cow Palace in San Francisco. I felt kind of sad and hurt because here are my little brothers right here, and you know, no one's around you guys or helping you guys out. You know, you guys should be in a truck or in a vehicle going back to the hotel or something.
Right, because you look at it from a security standpoint. Like, what are these dudes walking around with no security when all these years they had security?
You know,
Well, I think for us, as we mentioned earlier, it was more so just the it was the ladies, it was the groupies, man, that we had to back up, because at one point we were a little handsome, you know, we did have a little fame, and some of them did want us, you know, but but Manny was always there, and Lloyd to
we had toured to Australia.
Yeah.
We did a show in Australia.
right. You came with us there, okay?
Yeah.
That's when I first got my Brandon Proud tattoo,
Yeah.
or was that London? I think that was London. That was
'cause
London.
Then, and then from there we went to London.
Yeah.
And then, did we go to Germany?
And Jam and James came with us. No,
Yeah.
Germany. We went to London and we went to Australia,
Yeah.
and then later on we ended up going to Japan. Yeah,
So
that was dope. Australia was dope. We went to one of the promoters' houses, and they had
Lenny.
an
His name was
Italian dinner
Lenny.
for her, right? Lenny.
Lenny.
And it was an Italian dinner. The first time I ever ate a 12-course meal. 'Cause I guess that's how Italianos get down.
Yeah.
And it's where they bring you the dessert first or something. You eat backwards. I was all kind of all new to that shit, but I remember it was fire.
His dad had an arm missing, but he was a pool shark, man, because he beat us all in the pool at the house.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
He beat us with one arm?
He had one arm.
Damn. That says a lot about my pool game.
You know, and then his sister liked me.
Yeah.
You remember we were at the club,
Oh, yeah.
and
Wifey, go upstairs.
she goes,
She's I want to hear this.
I want to dance with you, and I can't because I'm working.
Yeah.
And she turned around and asked you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going behind her, going like this, and you both look at each other. Goes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. One slow dance. That's it.
Yeah.
And we ended up leaving.
Oh, we was just looking at. We had a great old time in Australia, man. Australia was tough.
And-
London, not so much. I wasn't really, vibing off London. No diss to London at all.
Well,
But Australia was just on another level.
Yeah. Well, we got detained in London.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Was that because Bobby had some like hash or something like that? I think, right?
It wasn't allowed over there.
No.
No. Well, you can't bring it back.
It was on the close, right? So as we're in the line getting ready to go on a plane, you have these dogs walking around.
Yeah, the canines.
And I was watching the dog sat down one time by Bobby and Jam and James.
Right.
And then the dog took off. They took the dog in and then came back around, sat down again, and they brought a different dog up.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, we're being detained. You know?
Yep. So we were detained in London. Okay. Because I think I want to say we were going straight
We're coming
to Canada.
home. We're
Or
coming back home.
straight home.
We're coming home.
Okay.
We were
different
at
time.
Heathrow Airport.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when all that happened. And, they they checked everybody and all that. And I'm talking, we just got to performing, and we're going back home to LA. And that's about the time when Coolio got busted too.
Oh, okay. What did he get busted for?
For that clothing stuff or whatever. Supposedly they accused him of stealing some clothes at a store or something like that.
Damn, I don't remember.
But it wasn't
that.
him. It was one of the crew members or something like that. They thought it was
always
gift.
is. Always is somebody in your camp.
Yeah.
Crazy. So then, wow, that was a wild story, man. Did
guys-
you ever go with us to Guam or Hawaii?
Hawaii many times.
Yeah.
That's where I met my beautiful honey.
That's right. Shout out to Wivey. Shout out to Wivey. How long you been married now, Manny?
23 years.
24 years?
Yes.
How many kids?
We have 2 of our own,
And
then 4 from our first marriage.
blended family. Dope.
Yes.
6 kids.
And then we have any grandkids, honey?
Now it's coming
Grandkids.
back to me. Now I'm remembering her from when we were in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I remember, didn't you? I want to say you missed a couple shows like later on because you went back to Hawaii or something, or
Well,
that was the reason why we stopped working. Nah, bro. But I remember there were a couple of times that you dipped back to Hawaii. or you brought her here. One of the two.
No.
Eventually.
She was, eventually, yeah. But that was another one before my wife.
Oh, shit. Snap.
That
Hit that sound effect.
that was the one that always took care of our rooms when we went to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
You know, because we met her in backstage of Hawaii, and when we were doing a show in Hawaii, it's a small park or something like that.
Right.
And then we just started talking and whatnot.
Okay.
And then
Something about them Hawaiian girls, huh, man?
Well, look at all this, bro.
Shit, when we went to Guam, bro, I say this to this day,
Not
Australia
saying
was
that
dope.
I dated a Hawaiian because I know my girl's watching too, but
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, these were prior
Nice
times.
people, bro,
We're good. But it did happen. And I remember just going to Guam, bro. They were so welcoming. And shit, man, I ended up going to a couple strip clubs out there. And a lot of the girls out there are from U.S. because they would fly the girls out there to the strip clubs out there. And we'd meet them, and I'd be like, "Where you from?" "Oh, I'm from Oregon, or I'm from the Bay Area." Oh, we hit it off, chopping it up. Like, man, how'd you get like way out here? It's like they book us, they hired us from out here. I'm like, shit. To the point where I remember I came back, and I had a girlfriend like in '97, and Ambrosia. She rapped on one of our tracks, man. She was part of the Brown Roy Kingpin. Anyway, I ended up sending her to Guam because she wanted to go strip out there in Guam, bro. And it just became getting shipped off for that.
Pimping her.
Call it what you want, bro. But the homie hit me up and said, "Hey, we need a couple girls, ODM. What you got?" I was like, "Hey, girl, there's opportunity there.
he was trapping.
If that's what you want to do, go ahead."
You remember that one place we went to? It was in London. It was a strip joint, and right across from the strip joint was a police department.
Nah.
But when we went in, the girls recognized you guys, and we ended up going to the back section where they had a jacuzzi, and the jacuzzi looked real dirty and everything.
Oh wow, nah.
Yeah, and then we ended up leaving because it's an unsafe place.
Really?
Oh yeah, man.
That dirty, huh? London got down like that. I remember I didn't like the food in London. I remember there was only because they were known for like croissants or bagels, and there wasn't really much to eat. Had no McDonald's. I mean, granted, I was in I get it, country, but it was like even Japan had McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, the Burger King was called Royales.
Okay, they had a little knockoff. Yeah.
No.
I just didn't like the food. That's one thing I didn't like, even the dinner, whatever. But
and then I had my own sandwich made that one time, a big old sub sandwich, and you guys go, "Where'd you get that at?"
telling you, bro, they didn't have shit there to eat, bro.
Nothing but coffee.
I probably lost, coffee or bagels, man. I probably lost like 10 pounds that week. But no, we had a really good time internationally. And then I can't really remember other than the car shows, bro, locally that we used to tour. But I know we did a lot of shows together. Let's talk.
We did a show for Ollie's Lowriders.
Orly's Lowriders? Oh, I remember. Shout outs to Orly's, man.
Yeah. El Paso, Texas.
OG right there. Yeah. So I want to transition real quick into what we're doing now. What you got going on, man? You started your own wrestling thing. Is that what we're seeing right here?
Yes.
United Wrestling Council, Manny Pinson. Talk about us. How did you come about this?
I wrestled professionally for a while under the name of Bull Ramos Jr.
Bobby used to always joke back on you. Like, "Come on, Bull, where's your boots at?" Or what would he say? Wait. Well, go ahead. I was just trying to squeeze the joke in.
I was.
He was a wrestler, right?
I'm on YouTube under Bull Ramos Jr. versus Armor Saint with my tag team partner, Fabi Chulo. And
Fabi Chulo
was my partner, my tag team partner. It was a handicap match.
Hell of a name.
My manager was Mr. Mexico. My trainer was Pistol Pete and Mondo Guerrero.
Wait a minute. I saw a video. I seen that video. I think you posted it a while on Facebook.
Yeah.
And there's a dude named Mr. Mexico. Was that wasn't you, was it?
No, that's my manager.
Okay.
My hair was like maybe up to my shoulders.
Yeah.
Like then I wore the bandana with the cow skull.
So no luchador, no mask.
Man, I'm too beautiful to cover this face.
Amen. You sexy beast.
Yeah. But yeah, I did that, and then I stopped. That's when I started touring with you guys and all that. I had a couple of partners, and we were talking about starting our own business promotion, and we were talking about names. And I go, well, let's go with the name that's already known, which is UWC, United Wrestling Council. So I talked to Pistol Pete about it, and I bought the name from him.
This has been going on since when? When did you start that?
The business itself?
Yeah.
I'll be maybe about 2-3 years now.
There you go, perro. You could be. Danny wants to wrestle. He got the size, don't he?
I'm trying to lose. I'm trying to go down.
What was his name
I
be?
was doing boxing. Me?
What would your name be?
The Big Perro.
Big perro. What do you call him? El Tortinator.
With the mask or without a mask?
We got this name for Danny. We called it the Tortinator, man.
I get punked on, whatever.
He gets the Tortinator. Come on, fool. I'll put a big mascara on you, bro.
A big torta mascara?
There it is.
Either that or put your tutu on.
Put a tutu?
You know? Hey, it's all about entertainment, man.
That is true. They don't have my size, though.
Right here, like on the front, it'll say El Tortinator. And in the back, it'll say, Sup, perro.
Going straight down.
I'm doing the wrestling. Obviously, you're not doing security anymore, right?
I do.
Here and there.
There's clients that I do work for that call me up and go, hey, Manny, are you available?
Yeah.
I go, what you got going on? X, Y, Z. And
Yeah.
All right, this is what it is, you know. And, you know, it's I still do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you do security for one of my birthday parties?
Yep.
At my Uncle Joe's house?
Yeah.
Dude, it was my 22nd or 23rd birthday. I think Bobby and I, we had stopped working with each other.
Yeah.
And then my mom was the one that hired her. I threw this big ass party at my uncle's pad in Riverside. And it was one of my birthdays. And it was an invite only, obviously. I wasn't charging people. But I was passing out flyers. This back in the day, we used to go to the Rocks Club, and I remember just passing out flyers. And everybody, Slow Pain showed up. Rest in peace. He was out there. In fact, Slow Pain was the one that ended up throwing cop showed up later on, and somebody threw a freaking beer bottle, and it hit the roof, and it bounced and hit the cop, right? Mm-hmm. And it ended up being Slow Pain. That's when I was doing the Baby OG album.
We had a lot of issues that night.
But you guys were up there in the front. I think you guys were in your yellow jacket, security. You brought a couple of your boys. Was Lloyd there?
Yep.
Lloyd was there. Rest in peace too, man.
Yep.
We had a lot of issues that night.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so glad it was over and done with that night.
Danny from who else was there? Danny from De La Paz, Puppet from American Me.
I'm too young for that.
Come on, bro.
I gotta rewatch the movie.
Huh?
I gotta rewatch the movie.
Big Puppet. Oh man, legend.
Too young for you.
Who else? We had some Jism. Shout outs to Jism. He was a rapper. A bunch of rappers there at that time, man. Just rolled up.
Everybody started coming out though back then too.
There was this fine ass lowrider model that I invited to. I think her name was Claudia. Bro, she was fine. She was bad, bro. But we never linked. There's some wild stories, man. Wild stories.
We did a show in Imperial. Your uncle was a mayor or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I wheeled in deal with the promoter because he didn't have enough cash at the time.
Right.
And he brought some kind of equipment out. And I asked Jam and James about it. And he goes, oh, yeah, this equipment's more than what we're getting paid for.
Right.
So I said, okay, this is what we'll deal, but give me my cash, you know. I held on to that equipment after we did our show. And then we got our money.
Yeah.
After we did our show, we ended up going to Tijuana.
Right.
And then from Tijuana, was that Miss something, a friend that you knew? That picture that I sent you?
Oh, Veronica?
I think that's her.
The girls that were in the picture? Okay.
Yeah. That's the two guys in the back was my compadre.
Okay.
Right? And young lady was a little intoxicated, you know. And we were at Senor Frog's that night. So my compadre got pickpocketed that night.
I thought it was Jam and James that got pickpocketed because he told the similar story.
When you guys got pulled over?
It's probably so.
It was on the streets, and the little sellers with the flour, the little whatever, they all rushed James, and they stole his wallet, right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well,
and then he ran up and he was like,
well, the Feriatis were there. You remember that?
Okay.
Well, it just happened to be I knew the feriatis that were there. And that's when they caught that guy that took the money.
Oh, dang. That must have been a separate situation. I mean, that happens all the time, though, I'm assuming.
Especially now.
But those are good times,
Yeah.
bro. I thought that was a TJ Knight's video shoot for some reason when you sent that to us. But, man, we had a lot of good times, bro.
Yeah. A lot of good times and a lot of headaches.
A lot of headaches.
Did you ever have to like sit down with them and have like a talk with them, like, something's about to get serious, so we gotta all be all on the same page or anything like that?
No, because once we were home, we really didn't talk a whole lot, going home because everybody was tired,
Right.
And then when we got home, it's just, okay, this is the money, give it to Gloria, And
What about on the road, though? I think you talking about like scenarios, right?
Yeah, like shows.
Like if we're somewhere, like going back to what we were saying, like how
it always came down to be careful who you're messing with, because a lot of these girls look older than what they were. They were young minors,
Yeah.
And some countries, they allow certain things. In the United States, they don't.
I think like in London, you could be 18
Yeah.
and you could be drinking already, or something like that. But yeah, that's
We
crazy.
didn't go to Amsterdam. I know that.
No, we
Because
almost did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would've been-
But overseas, I mean,
no crazy
these
stories.
guys were really good. Even when I toured with Skilo, I gave them the 411s. Because if you get stuck over here,
that's true.
we're not gonna.
Be lucky if you
Yeah.
get back, or it'll be a long time, man.
Oh yeah, well,
That was my biggest fear, being out of the country.
Getting in trouble.
Hell, of losing my passport or getting jacked or something. You see all these movies, you're like, hell no. I got to get back.
oh man, it was. I mean, like I said, we had some good times. Bobby, it was always for him to relax was a drinking or smoking.
Well, remember Bobby smoked, and then he started drinking
Yeah.
later afterwards.
But he when we went to Fresno, I think it was Fresno, to get his birth certificate, to get his passport, I got to know him a little bit, driving up there and talking about his family and whatnot,
Right.
and he said, man, it hurts. It hurts, and I can only say so much and do so much for him.
Right.
But like I said, he was okay, once you kind of understand where he was coming from,
Sure.
you.
He was battling some demons, and every person that I've had on this platform and has had a conversation with him numerous times, longer than, we're not talking 10-minute conversations here. D would call a lot of us, spend times on the phone. He called me, he'd call my everybody on this platform, like I said. So everybody shares the same story, and I just want that to be clear, because I don't want it to get misconstrued or twisted in any other way, to where somebody else out there, maybe a relative or a close friend, may think differently out there about it. No, like we all share the same stories.
Well, there's a Bobby on the road and there's Bobby at home.
Right.
Okay. Now, Bobby, I know that there's only 2 females that I know that had kids from him. And the first one was a little girl.
Right.
And she had that cliff lip.
Yeah, that's Destiny.
Destiny.
Yep.
Okay.
Destiny was his first.
And then there was the little boy.
Anthony.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess he would be an okay dad, but a missing dad too. Wherever we went, do shows or whatnot, a lot of times I told the operator to send all their calls, I'm talking about yours and Bobby's calls, to my room.
Right.
Because public relations with,
Right.
with the females or whatnot.
Right. We would make up fake names, by the way, aliases. Like they look for our government name, we'd make up something else. We'll go.
And the girlfriend would go, well, why are the calls being sent to you? I said, because we get a lot of scammers, people trying to get into the room,
Right.
whatnot. So if you were here, I'd go downstairs and see who you are,
Right.
or we'd have radio interviews, covering for you guys,
Right.
because the time zones are totally different from here and overseas or whatnot,
Right.
But that's how.
These were the girlfriends of Bobby,
And
or people.
these were female friends that you guys had relationships here in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we went on tour,
Yeah.
right, your girlfriends would call,
Right.
right, my room, wondering how come
We're not answering.
Yes.
Oh, I'll be 100. I was a dog, like straight up. I mean, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Don't sit up here and sugarcoat it. This is the blackout, baby. Come on, man. I was a dog. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. I was young. I had girlfriends, and they would call me, one in particular, and I'm gonna let it be known. I dated this girl in high school, and she ended up having a kid with DTTX. So we'll let that sit for a second. You know what I'm saying?
Don't cry.
No, I was running amok, and her that's her son is Anthony. You know what I'm saying? But we're all good now. We don't see each other, obviously, but back then it was just whatever. Like it is what it is. And when that scenario happened, it was kind of like. Bro, I was going 100 miles an hour at that point. Like I didn't look back. So it didn't really affect me. And if it did, it was just kind of like one of those wow, you know what I'm saying? Like for a second, But one thing I do remember is that when I was dating her, she would call my hotel room. And obviously, if I'm with somebody, I'm not gonna pick up. You know what I'm saying? So back in the days, you can call up to the hotel rooms, and there's where they would get transferred to Manny, and that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Well,
so I would hear it when I got home the next day, but it is what it is. I mean,
well, like I said, being in the security business, I try to keep things in a down low to where you figured out what I was talking about,
right?
That's just way how I've been. I don't want to throw all kinds of stuff out there, names, just go around the box or whatever,
That's crazy, bro, because I thought you was going to come on here and tell a bunch of shit. The way you was hyped up on the phone yesterday, I don't know.
Yeah,
But it's different when you get some cameras on you, I'll tell you that much.
Well, privacy,
but
privacy.
It is. I respect that. I do. So, what else, bro?
Hey man, I mean, we've had a lot of good times. I spoke to Winston and Mike the other day from Latin Side, and they said to tell you hi, and
Latin Side of Soul. What's up, fellas? Good dudes, always good dudes.
So they say, hey, let's do some gigs or whatever, and I said, well, get in the studio and start doing some stuff.
Yeah, I remember when with those guys. I remember when they were popping. They had, I think Senior had them playing, right. And I remember where Senior would try to it was a cat and mouse game. Like wherever we were being booked or whatever radio station, we were trying to go for ads and try to get our songs played on stage. Senior was trying to work their record, and Senior was, I don't know what he envisioned to us. It seemed like he was trying to make Latin Side of Soul the next lighter shade of brown.
Yeah. That's what it seemed like.
Can you agree on that?
Yes.
So that's what it was. That's what the story was.
You guys had already left him.
Because we left him, and he went and created his own Latino group. Because mind you, there weren't a lot out there at that time. There was a few that were starting to pick up, make some noise. But mainstream wise, Lighter Shade was the first group doing it, and then you had groups like Latin Side of Soul who came next.
There was a lot of talk with females that were traveling with us too. A lot of jealousy.
Yeah.
Was it, you said your cousin, Alex?
Okay, my cousin. Okay, here's another gem, which y'all don't know. So, Teardrop stopped Denise, as we mentioned. If y'all don't know, check out the previous podcast. She stopped touring with us. For whatever reason, didn't want nothing to do with it. Chulo explained it best. And Cliff. But since then, I mean, from that point on, we needed a replacement for her to come fill. The song was still new. It was still popping, Latin active, and we're going, well, who's gonna do that verse, right? Like once the female verse comes, because it was one of the hottest parts of the song. So it was like, all right, well, we can't just cut the middle out, which we end up doing later on, where we just made it 2 verses. Up until today, we got that. But my cousin was around. You know, shout outs to Alex, you know, and she was around the same age, you know, pretty, you know what I mean? And she can hold a rap. Yeah. And everything from her voice to her look to everything. I think she was making her own bras at that time, kind of like how Selena was, you know, was making hers. Like at that time, it was those sequence bras, whatever, rhinestone ones. And she was making, like, I remember she had this Mexican flag one, and she would come out on stage and just represent and go hard. But the jealousy came when I think Teardrop showed up at one of the shows, right?
Yeah. Well, then not only that, you know, you have the young kids, you know, their hormones were going all over the place because, you know, they see a nice looking girl over there, and I think it was Isaiah, you know, I had a little crush for her too.
Bobby Ross's brother.
Yeah.
Isaiah, okay.
But, you know, and there were some others that, the eyebrows going up, you know.
Well, I mean, she was a very attractive lady, you know what I mean? And at that time, she was young. She, you know, she was definitely an eye catcher, you know. And to be up there on the platform rapping was like, that's unheard of, like for Latinos, because most of the Latinas at these car shows were modeling.
Yeah.
I think Dazza, though, if you remember Dazza, shout outs to Dazza, I think she started singing later on or had a song on Thump Records or something like that, or it was during the same time. Dazza was a popular lowrider model at the time who did both. But she sang, you know, Alex was rapping.
Yeah.
Alejandra, yeah.
And then was it that one girl that whenever we went to San Francisco, she was a model for lowrider. She'd always come up and party with
we partied with a lot of lowrider models. Look at White Smiling Moons. Yeah. All horny boys coming soon.
Horny
Boys podcast coming soon to the Blackout. Oh man, but I mean that was the scene, bro. We partied with lowrider models, you know, we go to the bars, we go to the after parties, lowrider car shows, and shout outs to all the dudes, man, at the lowrider shows. They were good dudes, you know, from the photographers to the promoters, Larry Gonzalez, Albert, just the old crew, you know, the original lowrider. That's where we grew up at, and I think there's where we made our name. And because of Lowrider Magazine, that whole tour, that's where Lighter Shade of Brown based, you know, put their first planted their feet on, and that was a platform for us, at least for the Southwest, until they started, you know, expanding to the East Coast and whatnot. But Manny, man, I think our time is up, bro. I want to thank you, man, my brother, for coming and shedding some lights. And I want to push this one more time because I know this is what you're doing right here. The United Wrestling Council. Follow my boy on Facebook, Manny Pinson, United Wrestling Council, right there. And if anybody wants to become a wrestler, can anybody join, or how does that work?
You know, you have.
Or do you got to be a certain rank already?
No, you have to be in somewhat good condition because training is really hard.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna get trained by the best, and you know, expect to get bruised, cut, and whatnot.
Sure.
Because it's
a tough sport.
It's a tough business.
Yeah.
You know, even though
cutthroat.
That too. A lot of guys don't like each other.
Right.
You know. But it's a hard business to be in. It's just like being in the music business, you know. Until you make it, then you're somebody. But you got to start from the ground up,
right? And
it sucks.
Sure,
wrestling business sucks, just like the entertainment business. All entertainment sucks until you start making the money,
right?
You know.
Well,
so that's why I stayed in the background and worked security.
That's it.
More money.
Yeah, you always have a job there, and it's my job. Like, it's my company, so these just rotate. They alternate, the wrestlers. Yeah. Once again, man, thank you guys. Any last shouts, bro? Anything else you want to say on the platform?
Follow us. You know, look for the logo when you bring up my name and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a great time on the road. Mom. Love you, Gloria. You know,
shout out to Gloria.
You know, you guys allow me to share with you guys.
No, bro.
And watch you boys to become successful men. it's an honor to see all that, man. You know, and it's a great experience.
Love you, bro. Thank you, man. And God bless you and your family, your lovely wife over here, Amelie. I'm gonna call her Amelie. Emil? How do you say Emil? Am I saying it right? Emil? Emil. I love it. She walked in and she was like, "Hi, I'm Emil." I said, "I haven't had one in a while." Matter of fact, I'm looking for a meal.
Morning.
Hey, man, shout out to the Blockout Podcast. We got more to come, guys, and this just keeps growing and growing and growing. I don't know how many more episodes we're going to do on the Lighter Shade, because now it's
season 2.
It's whoever was around, but we're gearing up for season 2. Just know that. And, right now we're on this narrow path, and it's all related right here on the Blockout Podcast of the birth of Lighter Shade. But just know you guys don't want to miss out. We got big plans for this platform. Matter of fact, we're going to be moving to a new spot here. On the next one, you might catch us on there literally like tomorrow. We got this office space, so you might see the setup switch up a little bit, you know what I mean, as we're in between. And we also want to eventually go live, and that way we can start taking calls, and that's what this thing does right here, if y'all didn't know, Yep. So on that note, guys, thank you guys so much. Danny, take us out, bro.
Yep, you already know, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let your mama know, let your papa know that the Blackout Podcast is coming to a city near you.